15th, 2023, and this is the Washington Times front page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Curbo. While the Ukrainian army was an early proponent of drone warfare, Russian forces have quickly adapted their tactics. Russian drone use, plus a more sophisticated defensive array involving trenches and redeployments, is credited with effectively blunting a highly touted Ukrainian counteroffensive this year. Ukrainian commanders reported that any significant offensive movements were instantly picked up by Russian surveillance drones. The result, Ukrainian forces who took back nearly 8,700 square miles of territory in the fall of 2022 have reclaimed just 200 square miles of land from the Russians in 2023. With that backdrop, President Biden faces increasing resistance on Capitol Hill to his request for another $61 billion for aid to Ukraine. Mike Glenn and Dave Sands report half of the new package would go to restocking the Pentagon's own arsenals for the weapons, ammunition, and other equipment to be sent to Ukraine's forces. The other half is marked for intelligence support, humanitarian aid, and assistance to Ukraine's government for emergency response, development, and other accounts. What has already been sent to Ukraine can be parsed in many ways. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, U.S. bilateral aid to Ukraine between January 2022 and the end of October totaled $75.4 billion, of which $46.3 billion was for weapons, equipment, training, logistics, and other support. The crisis days of the pandemic were easing in 2021, but plenty of people still rushed to collect unemployment, including more than 300 people the IRS says made at least $10 million in income that year. All told, Stephen Dinan reports the IRS figures those earning at least $1 million annually got nearly $500 million in unemployment benefits in 2020 and 2021. The average payout surged from roughly $5,000 to nearly $13,500. Some of the same U.S. universities that have been criticized for on-campus anti-Semitic events have taken billions of dollars in previously undisclosed donations from the Middle East. Valerie Richardson reports recent research from the Network Contagion Research Institute shows universities reported more than $13 billion in Section 117 gifts, or those received from foreign sources, for the 5-year period ending in 2019. The list of foreign donors from 2014 to 2019 was topped by Qatar at $2.7 billion, followed by England, China, and Saudi Arabia. Carnegie Mellon University was the leading recipient with $1.47 billion, followed by Cornell, Harvard, and MIT. And finally, more teenagers than ever spend most of their free time online than with family and friends, according to recent research. Sean Salai reports the Pew Research Center found nearly half of teens aged 13 to 17 say they use the internet almost constantly, roughly double the 24% who said the same in 2014-2015. Nearly 1 in 5 teenagers say they use YouTube or TikTok almost constantly. Pew noted that social media use has remained relatively stable since a previous poll in spring 2022, despite warnings from public health officials. Most teens used smartphones to go online this year, with 95% saying that they had one. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Curbo.